They are very, very close, and they will help each other. And from that, they also understand that education is so vital. And they started then educating the children properly. Because during the Cultural Revolution, there was no education. People that were intellectuals or university, they sent them out to work on the farms. But now, particularly with the one-child policy, which now is gone, by the way, people can have more than one child now. But they know that the kids... Yeah.
Let me stop you right there, that one-child policy. What was the reasoning behind one-child policy?
Because they didn't want the population to keep growing as quickly as it was, because they knew that the economy and food production couldn't support it.
Oh, okay.
So they now, if you lived in an agricultural area and you were a farmer, you in fact could have more than one child at that time. But if you lived in the city, no, you couldn't. Now, if you are an only child father and an only child mother, you can have two children.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But the Chinese put tremendous emphasis on educating the kids. The most important thing for a Chinese family is not whether the son makes the football team or the daughter makes the girls' basketball team. They don't quit school and then spend 3-4 hours on the football field or on the basketball court. They continuously emphasize education. They educate them in the evenings, they educate them on the weekends, and they educate them during the summer. Chinese kids are extremely well educated, and it shows.
Now, what happened to Chinese kids when they fail an exam with that tremendous education?
Well, obviously some do, but they would have to take the year, I believe. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I believe that the kid would have to take that particular course over again.
Okay.
But again, I would be subject to correction on that.
Now, how you do business with Chinese is like in America, you sign contract, you make an agreement, you sign papers, or it's a handshake or verbal agreement?
Okay, yeah, that is a very, very good question. And this is my thoughts. I'm not speaking for anybody else, but my thoughts are, in China, there is a law against everything and a way to do anything. Laws in China, from what I've been told and from what I understand, they are not as tightly codified and written as they are in the West. So there's always a certain amount of ambiguity where you can find a way how to do things. And in terms of doing business in China, at least, and I keep repeating this is my opinion, the first thing you need to do is you need to establish trust and friendship with people that you're dealing with. Now, when I first went there, it was very, very helpful that I had a Chinese wife, because in the very, very early days, sometimes I would take her with me as a translator. Now, the company that I was dealing with would always provide him with a translator. But what my wife would do, and she would not speak out loud, but she'd whisper in my ear, Alan, that's not what they really said. Or, Alan, that's not what they really meant. Because what you've got to understand, not so much as what they say, what do they mean? And you need to have like a Chinese mindset to understand the subtle difference between that. And then gradually, people trusted me. And I think the fact that I'd married a Chinese, there's no doubt that helped me. That gave me some credibility.
Right. Right. So for somebody who's not married to a Chinese, it would be more difficult to penetrate this society, no?
Well, certainly for me, it was an advantage and it was very, very helpful. But what it does mean, you need to be able to hire either inside China or from outside China, somebody that does understand the people and does understand the language. So you can discuss with them. And that's not always easy to find, because you want to make sure that your translator is not telling you what they think you want to hear. They're willing to say, be careful, this is not right, or this is wrong. So you need to have, which I managed to get after. I mean, my wife only did that for a matter of months, and after that, I managed to get about 3 people that became very good friends of mine. I'm still friends with them, and I trust them absolutely. They trusted me. I helped them. They helped me. So again, it's developing trust amongst the people and understanding what needs to be done.
Right. The next question I have for you is, how did you manage to live among the Chinese? Did you visit some of them? Did they visit you? I know you're very tall, and you're walking around the city in Shanghai. What kind of perception the Chinese had on you? Who is this big, good-looking English doing? What is it doing here in China?
Well, yeah, that's quite an interesting question, and shows how times change. When I first went there, I could gather a crowd just by standing at the corner waiting to cross the street. People would come at me, and every now and again they would sort of poke me to see if I was really there. And they found out that I was quite interesting because I smiled. At those day and age, and I hate to say it, they used to call me Elvis because they thought I looked like Elvis Presley, which I don't. But I've got dark hair, I have sideburns, and I'm tall. But anyhow, they used to think that I was Elvis, so which was help. But now there are so many foreigners in China that people pay no attention to you whatsoever. I hate to say, but that's true.
This has been a very interesting conversation, Alan. We have 2 minutes left. Can you conclude? Can you give us a sense of conclusion? What to do in China? How was your experience? Just in 2 minutes, resume all your Chinese experience for us.
Certainly. The decision for me to go to China was no doubt the best decision I ever made in my life, other than marrying my wife, I should add. It was a wonderful experience. I would not change any of it. I am very dismayed now to see the fact that for many people, China is voted as the evil empire. Are they perfect? No. Have they done some things that are wrong? Absolutely. But in the end, China and America are two great nations. In fact, probably the two greatest relations in the end. It is far more important that they learn to live with each other. And as I was saying earlier on, there is no such thing as absolute truth. You need to look at the other person's side to understand what's going on. I feel that I have lived through history to see how the country has developed. And there's a wonderful opportunity. It's a lot more competitive now because when I first went, they were really looking to our company and the other foreigners that that we could help them. Now they've got a lot of experience. But I'll give you one, if I may give you 1 minute. When one day they asked me, why was our company successful, whereas most of the other foreign companies failed? My answer was easy. We run it like a Chinese restaurant. They said, what do you mean? I said, well, Chinese food is famous all over the world, but the flavor and the way it's done is adjusted for the local conditions. And over here, a Japanese company run it like Japan. American that. We don't. We adjust the recipe.
Fair enough. Thank you, Alan. Alan Ridley, thank you so much for coming to Seiko Radio. We certainly will invite you again. Thank you. Thank you much.
Thank you, Seiko.